Okay, let's be real. We use it every single day. We get so frustrated when it's slow, and we practically lose our minds when the connection just drops. I am, of course, talking about Wi Fi. It kind of feels like this invisible, magical force that powers our whole lives, from our work emails to, endless cat videos. But what is it really? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out what this whole invisible force is all about. I mean, have you ever actually stopped to wonder, how does it work? How does data just fly through the air and land on your screen? It feels like magic, but I promise you, it's not. It's science. And in this explainer, we're going to demystify it completely. All right, let's dive right in with the single most important thing you need to know. Seriously, if you get this one key difference, everything else about how Wi Fi works is just going to click into place. It'll all make perfect sense. Okay, you ready for this? Let this one sink in. Wi-Fi is not the internet. They are two totally, completely separate things. I know, right? This is the foundational idea we've got to get. One is this massive global network, and the other? That's just a local signal being created right there inside your own home. So let's use an analogy. Picture the internet as this gigantic physical information superhighway. I'm talking about massive fiber optic cables that are literally running under oceans and across entire continents. That wire coming into your house, that's just the off-ramp from that highway. So then what's Wi-Fi? Well, Wi-Fi is the local wireless signal that you create from that wired connection. It's like the little local road that gets you to your driveway. So the whole journey is actually pretty simple when you break it down. First, the wired internet gets to your house through a cable. Step 2, you plug that cable into your router. And then, this is the important part, the router does its thing. It turns that wired signal into the wireless Wi-Fi signal that all your devices can actually connect to. Okay, so let's talk about that little blinking box in the corner, right? The router. It is the unsung hero of this whole story. And believe me, its job is way cooler than you probably think. See, most of us think a router is just, a signal booster. But that's not really its main gig. Its real talent, its secret power, is translation. It takes one type of signal and it completely converts it into something else. To put it simply, a router grabs the electrical signals coming in from that internet cable and translates them into invisible radio waves. That's its entire job. It's basically a super fast, high-tech translator. Here's a great way to think about it. Your router is basically your own tiny personal radio station. But instead of broadcasting music, it's broadcasting data. We're talking your emails, your Netflix stream, everything. And get this, it uses the exact same type of radio waves that your car uses to pick up your favorite radio station. But wait, that analogy isn't perfect. Because unlike a simple radio broadcast, Wi-Fi isn't a one-way street, not at all. It's an active, lightning-fast dialogue. Think about it, right? Your car radio can only listen. It can't talk back to the radio station. But Wi-Fi? Oh, Wi-Fi is a constant, non-stop, back-and-forth conversation between your router and every single device you own. So how does that conversation actually work? Well, your phone, your laptop, they all have these tiny little antennas inside. First, they hear the radio waves coming from the router, and they decode them into the data that, makes up a website. Then, when you click send on an email or post a picture, your device does the exact same thing, but in reverse. It encodes your data into radio waves and sends that signal right back to the router. And the speed here, it's just mind-boggling. That entire back and forth process we just talked about, the listening, the decoding, the encoding, the sending, that happens billions of times, every single second. Just incredible. Okay, so if this whole system is so brilliant, why does our Wi-Fi still fail us all the time, right? Well, now that we know it's really just a radio conversation, we can finally understand what's getting in the way. It all comes down to one word: interference. So let's meet the enemies of good Wi-Fi, all the things that can block or disrupt that really delicate radio conversation. Now, to really get a handle on interference, you got to know about the two main lanes your Wi-Fi uses: 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Think of it like a highway. The 2.4 gigahertz lane is, well, it's slower, but its signal travels a lot further and it's way better at getting through walls. The 5 gigahertz lane is like the express lane. It's much, much faster, but it has a shorter range and it gets blocked way more easily. So basically, anything that can physically block or electronically interfere with radio waves is gonna hurt your Wi-Fi. We're talking about stuff like thick walls, just being too far away from the router, and even other competing electronics. But here's a wild one, your microwave oven. It actually operates on a really similar frequency, and it can literally just shout over the conversation your devices are trying to have with your router. All right, let's bring this all home. The real takeaway here isn't just a list of facts. It's a whole new way to think about your Wi-Fi. It's almost like a superpower, really. Your new superpower is that you understand, you get it now. What used to seem like magic is really just physics. And because of that, you can actually start to diagnose problems because you know what's really happening behind the scenes. So, the next time your video starts buffering, you'll know the truth. It's probably not the internet that's down. No, it's that delicate radio conversation between your router and your device getting blocked by some physical noise in your home. Your Wi-Fi problem isn't an internet problem, it's an environment problem. I mean, it's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it, right? All that data is just flying through the air as invisible radio waves. So I've got to ask you, what's your biggest Wi-Fi pet peeve? Is it that dreaded buffering wheel? Or is it that one dead spot in your house where absolutely nothing will ever connect?